welcome you to a beautiful night on the West Coast, Seaside, California, Cardinale Stadium, the site tonight as Monterey Bay FC welcomes in the #1 team in the Western Conference, San Antonio. Alongside Chris Nurse, I'm Josh Appel. Thanks so much for spending part of your Saturday night with us on the Golazo Network as Monterey Bay goes for its first win in 2026. Not a lot of bright spots early on this season, Chris Nurse, for Monterey Bay, but the 19-year-old goalkeeper Fernando Delgado has shown quite a bit of promise.
Yeah, it's quite a large task for Fernando Delgado, 19 years old, in between the sticks of the team where they find themselves in currently in position. It's a big task. Goalkeepers normally have a little bit more experience. They're able to command the back line. Their experience in the game allows them to dictate the game and be a little bit more of a presence inside of the goal. It's a fantastic opportunity for the 19-year-old, but I just wonder the magnitude of the task that they have if he's up to that as yet.
It's, of course, his first time getting a shot as a full-time starter. On the other side, who else but Jorge Hernandez? 2 goals this season in league play that leads the team. He's a chance creator, facilitating, and, of course, he can score, too.
Yeah, Hernandez, the main talisman for San Antonio, leads their attack. He's been very good in creating opportunities, but obviously, as you mentioned, he's able to get himself on the score sheet. For San Antonio, I think they want to become a little bit more offensively aggressive in the way they approach games. They've scored 5 goals so far this season, only conceded 1. Fantastic defending, but there's a number of teams who are a little bit more aggressive in their offensive approach.
They've dominated the month of March each of the last 4 seasons. The calendar is turned to April. They'll try and remain unbeaten as Monterey Bay goes for its first win of the season. We'll have lineups and kick next from Cardinale Stadium.
At Taylor Farms, our goal is to create healthier lives by creating healthy, fresh foods. A stronger community is a win for everyone. That's why each time the Monterey Bay Football Club scores a goal, Taylor Farms will donate $500 to a local nonprofit. Healthy goals, healthy lives. A more perfect union. We are Union!
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club and WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Montrio, Tarpe's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. And now you can become part of the team. At Coastal Roots Hospitality, employees are the heart of our company, with a firm belief that everyone can make a difference. We are inspired by the love of the ocean, our community, and the Monterey Peninsula.
We're required to have fun.
I like to work for this company because of this, with family feeling.
The Coastal Roots Hospitality team is a dynamic group of professionals working together to bring exceptional, engaging service and a delicious dining experience to our guests. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
The USL on CBS is presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel partner of the United Soccer League. Teams coming on the pitch at Cardinale Stadium, Monterey Bay, hoping tonight is the night they earn their first victory in 2026, while San Antonio looks to keep rolling. They've conceded just 1 goal in the first 5 games, and it came on a penalty. Josh Appel, Chris Nurse with you as we take a look at tonight's starting 11s. First, for head coach Jordan Stewart at Monterey Bay.
4-3-3 formation can easily turn into a 4-4-1 defensively. 4-4-1-1 defensively. As we spoke about, Delgado being a young goalkeeper leading that back line. A very big task. It's whether they believe in long-term future, but for right now, a team that needs to get results and push up the table, it's a big responsibility on Delgado's shoulders. I'll be interested to see how he continues to manage and communicate with that defense.
And for Carlos Llamosa and San Antonio, quite a bit of changes, including in goal. Joey Batruni doesn't get the start between the sticks. It's the veteran Richard Sanchez making his first start of the season.
Yeah, and it's quite the contrast. A veteran in one end, a youngster in the other, but obviously it's the leadership and the guidance he can bring to the defense and experience in between the sticks. Having those two players up top, a lot of pressing, a lot of aggression on the defense for Monterey Bay. It's going to be interesting to see how they manage to deal with Johnson and Soto. We spoke about Hernandez's threat and what he provides going forward. He can play the final pass, he can finish his chances himself.
No Mitch Tainter, no Alex Cronale either in the starting 11 against the Crispin Kelp for San Antonio FC.
I know it's you could say it's fairly early in the season, but what does this game mean to you for Monterey Bay, where they currently sit in the standings, how they finished last season, going into the next 3 games?
This is a massive one for them at home, right? They've only scored the one goal this season. They played a really tough game last week in Vegas. They lost 1-0. They had a chance early. It was a really good first 20 minutes. We'll see if they can build on that tonight. Back home against a starting 11 at San Antonio that isn't the group that we're used to seeing out there.
Yeah, I think everybody, maybe the secret Monterey Bay fan, they want to see this team do well. They want to see results. They want to see performances. But it's just been a little bit underwhelming so far this season. Obviously, Jordan Stewart has now had an opportunity to put his stamp of authority onto this team with his players, his style of play. And you was optimistic and hoping that they would hit the ground running, but that hasn't quite happened. Their goal differential -5, as you mentioned, scored just 1 goal, conceded 6, which is why I question the experience of the young goalkeeper. It's a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation. You know, if you were to say, okay, this is a young squad that the focus is going to be on 2 or 3 years' time, they're not so much being judged right now. You say, okay, it's a long-term project. They're investing in the youth and they're allowing it to grow over time. If you feel like the pressure is now on the coach to get results and to compete right now, then you'd say it's a lot to ask for at this phase of his career and at this phase of the season.
The last time these two teams met in this stadium at Cardinale back in 2025, they played to a 0-0 draw as we get underway from Seaside. Glad you can be with us on Golazo Network. And an early foul from our referee tonight, Edson Carvajal.
As this game starts, San Antonio currently see themselves in 2nd place with El Paso leading them. El Paso currently leading Las Vegas 1-0. As we're speaking in the pregame, San Antonio scored just 5 goals so far this season. El Paso has scored 9 goals. You go down a little bit, Colorado Springs, 8 goals. Las Vegas themselves, 7 goals. So despite conceding just 1, obviously defense often aligned with winning championships, you'd think that one area they want to prove is to be a little bit more ruthless in the attacking third. While they don't care about the results or the wins they come by any means, you'd want them to be a little bit more aggressive in putting teams to bed and winning games by 2 or 3-0 to really stamp their authority over teams.
The 1 goal they conceded this year was on a penalty, so they haven't conceded in the run of play through the first 4 matches. And they do return their top 3 scorers to all-league selections, and they added Christian Pirano to this group, and he leads the team with 3 assists, although not starting tonight.
This makes this an even more interesting matchup. You have one team on the hand, San Antonio, have only conceded 1 goal. And as you mentioned, that came from a penalty kick. Then you have Monterey Bay on the other hand, the home team, who have only scored 1 goal so far this season. So you wonder which direction the pendulum will swing.
Early on, a corner earned by Monterey Bay. Jordan Stewart told us he loved their start against Vegas. The first 20 minutes at Cashman Field last Saturday, the best they've looked this season. And it feels like if Sebastian Leggett was able to convert on that early PK, maybe they get a different result than the loss. It was short on the corner. Now it's whipped in. Headed away by San Antonio, but Joel Garcia back on it, floats it, and the flag is up for offside.
Yeah, for sure. The saying that goals change games, it's not just a phrase. it's a niche. You always feel the energy change, the confidence change, the momentum change. So not converting obviously had a big impact on the team. I wouldn't, maybe not a negative impact, but converting could have had a really positive impact on the team for the remainder of the game. And maybe they just need a little bit of luck to go their way. Strikers operate on confidence. Sometimes one goal goes in and they just hit a streak of rich form. And they probably need that little bit of luck to go their way to kind of switch the momentum here.
Jordan Stewart, who you just saw, still confident in this group. And he said none of the guys are coming into the facility with their heads down. They're still going to work every day, despite the record. Foul here in the corner as Buckmaster and Joel Garcia went at it in the corner. And this will be a free kick from that spot. Buckmaster a bit slow to get up, making his second start tonight. Oof, late.
Late, but I wouldn't say there was much in it. I'd say he may be a little fatigued from making the run, and he's using it as a little chance to get an extra breather, but
Probably why there wasn't a card shown.
I don't think the actual challenge was too malicious.
Buckmaster all right. So now basically a pseudo corner kick. It's Jorge Hernandez to take it. Blocked on the way in, and they'll get a corner. Hernandez led USL Championship in chances created in 2025.
Monterey Bay also do have some decent offensive weapons. Omari Glasgow has the ability to take players on. He can use both feet. He can score goals. He just doesn't hit the ground running yet and setting on fire. But he's a player that when he hits confidence or when he does start to score goals, he's a player that can really make things happen. An exciting young winger. Obviously, he's on loan from Chicago. It's his second spell. Spent some time last season with Loudon.
That's over everybody. Euro fave. Chases it down. He curls it back in. And it's cleared away by Milešević. And then taken away. Could be a 1v1 with the keeper. Sanchez way out. He's fortunate, and Monterey Bay just cannot take advantage. Leggett moves it forward. Flicked up into the air. That was Glasgow wreaking havoc right on cue.
Yeah, this is live, but it wasn't pre-programmed. Just talking about it, there you see that dynamic pace. If used efficiently, it's a real weapon that Monterey Bay can unleash. And that's where you're just looking again for that little bit of luck to go your way. The ball ricochets in behind. Glasgow pressures it. It just doesn't fall, the bounce doesn't fall nicely for them to finish off the play, but the opportunities were there. It's just lacking a little something to kill teams off or to get a little bit of luck to make it happen. See the tenacity. He's trying to make something out of nothing here. Just the pressure creates the opportunity. Here you're thinking this ball could bounce anywhere once it comes off the goalkeeper's foot. He just managed to ricochet to a space where they couldn't take advantage of it. But that's where you need the luck sometimes just to go in your favor.
Probably a very lonely feeling for Richard Sanchez. About 6 minutes into your first start of the season. He's a veteran, he's seen a lot, but that can't be a great feeling being all the way off your line like that, going 1v1 with an opposing player.
And I think this is where Monterey Bay can use their weapons. You can see the pressure. When Glasgow pressures you at full speed, very difficult for defenders to do it. They have to move the ball quickly or he's going to take off their feet. This is where they can use some of that youth, that enthusiasm, that energy to take advantage of their opponents. If you allow players time and space, they look great. When you put them under pressure, as you just saw, it's a completely different game. And we're still in the time in the season when the temperature is cool enough to press and be aggressive. As we know, as we head towards the summer months, things heat up and you have to manage your energy a little bit more conservatively. But this phase, when the temperatures are nice, you can be aggressive and go and win the ball high up.
Great crowd still filing its way in to Cardinale Stadium. It's another good start for Monterey Bay for the second consecutive game.
But you have to make these opportunities. You have to make you have to make the good start count.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you can easily get pinned back on a counter-attack or a set piece. And now you're wondering what could have been or should have been rather than taking advantage of those circumstances. You have to strike when you're on top.
San Antonio in the white, Monterey Bay in the Crispin Kelp. Sordo, great ball. Couldn't handle it though. Euro fave trying to get there, but Milešević able to recover. And it's a throw for San Antonio.
And in all honesty, you know you're coming up against a San Antonio defense. Collectively, the whole squad that has only conceded 1 goal this year from a penalty kick. So you know it's probably a game where you're not going to get a ton of chances. So the few opportunities that you get, you really need to take advantage of. You need to be clinical.
Tough for Sordo to handle, but he's able to. Long down the left side. Bounces off the turf.
I think the one thing that Monterey Bay can grab a little hope from in this fixture is that most of San Antonio's wins have only been by a 1-goal margin. So they know that it's going to be a tight game. It's not going to be, despite the disparity of where they currently sit in the table, it's not going to be a complete blowout. You know, they're going to have a chance as long as they stay in the game and defend well.
Again, this is something that San Antonio is familiar with. They've gone unbeaten in the month of March, 4 seasons in a row. Last season, they won their first 4 matches and then lost 3 in a row across all competitions, Phoenix, Miami league play, and then they were cup set by Union Omaha in the US Open Cup. San Antonio's Open Cup run in 2026 came to a close earlier this week with a loss to FC Tulsa. There's Carlos Llamosa. 17 wins, 14 losses, 9 draws, got them back into the postseason last year after missing in 2024. He really struggled in the middle of the summer towards the end. They got off to such a great start. Just able to get into the postseason. Made some additions this year. Hoping to build on that in Llamosa's 2nd season at the helm. The USL on the CBS Sports Network kicks off on April 18th with an Eastern Conference showdown. Charleston Battery takes on the fast start Tampa Bay Rowdies at 3 p.m. Eastern. Catch the action on CBS Sports Network on April 18th. Chris Nurse, how about Charleston Battery today? A 2-0 clean sheet win at Louisville City. It snapped a 26-match regular season home unbeaten streak for Lou City. Their 20-match unbeaten streak overall. It was Ben Pierman, the head coach of Charleston Battery's 100th career win. And the Battery, who had come in losing 2 in a row, take down Lou City with a clean sheet 2-0.
Yeah, we were actually asking earlier today, how do we think Louisville are going to look post Danny Cruz? Obviously, he's a big part of the success and the change that they've had over the years. And obviously, they're now going into a new era. They quickly lost a record that they had for a long-standing time. But this is the moment where you're going to learn about these players and see how they overcome that adversity. See how they adapt now and see how they manage things under a new leadership. When things are going well and you're winning, it's good. Everybody can get along well. When things are not going so well, this is really when you find out about teams and players. So it's going to be interesting to see how things look over the course of the season under new leadership.
Tampa Bay Rowdies, they improved to 4-0-0 today. A 1-0 win over Sporting Jacks. And the first booking of the night goes to the Crispin Kelp. Georgi Lamtadze picks up the yellow.
It's late. He's gone to ground. He doesn't get in on the ball. Whether it's his first foul or his 5th foul, it's a pretty poor challenge in honesty. And that's coming from somebody who made a lot of poor challenges. So yeah, it's his first one. He probably didn't need to even make that challenge.
By the way, that win for Tampa Bay Rowdies came at the death in the 5th minute of stoppage time. They scored the winner on the road at Sporting Jacks. So that game, Charleston, Tampa Bay, CBS Sports Network on April 18th.
I think it's important. Both Charleston and Louisville were very good last season. They both went toe-to-toe for a loss. a large portion of the season to see who was going to be the regular season champion. So both teams obviously rebuilding what they already had, which was already a strong group, and adding some key pieces has allowed them to start the season strong.
Louisville City had a lot of continuity from last year to this year, but Charleston Battery, they had to replace 53 of their 62 goals from last year on this year's team. Obviously, the highlights, MD Myers and Cal Jennings both gone. Here's what happened to Reese Buckmaster, who, unfortunately for him, he's twice taken a couple of these challenges. This one looked like his ankle got folded up underneath of Lamtadze.
I will say, going back to Charleston, the previous season when they lost Marcanic, everybody was concerned that, okay, how are you going to replace Marcanic's goals? And they went the following season and somehow managed to re-energize themselves, reshape themselves, and come back stronger again. It's going to be interesting to see if they can do that 2 seasons in a row. As you mentioned, they lost a number of the goals that they got this season in the transfer that is made. 2 seasons in a row, you've lost your main goal scorers or your main source of goals. How are you going to adapt? Obviously, tonight they've done very well beating Louisville 2-0, but over the longevity of the season, maybe they have to adapt their style of play a little bit and become a little bit more unified and stronger defensively, because they're not going to have, or I'm not going to say they're not, but it's going to be really difficult to have that offensive output that you've had when you've lost your top goal scorers for 2 consecutive years.
No doubt about it. Oh, and by the way, they lost Aaron Malloy to Lexington. I mean, there are so many pieces to that group that have since departed. But here in Monterey Bay at Seaside Cardinale Stadium, we're 15 minutes in. Still looking for the game's first breakthrough. Fairly even first 15 minutes.
What do you make of Lexington? They seem to be flexing a little bit of power, some big signings. Where do you see them finishing off the season?
Too much talent on that group not to finish in the top half of the Eastern Conference, if you ask me. But, I mean, you look at Lou City, Charleston, Tampa Bay. I mean, there are only so many spots in that top 4 in the East.
I thought you were going to say too much talent to have a happy locker room there. I thought you were going to say it's going to be tough to balance that locker room and keep all those big names happy, which is also part of the job. Sometimes
certainly
the best roster on paper doesn't necessarily equate to the most successful team on the pitch. Sometimes that cohesion and chemistry is more valuable than the bigger names. So it's going to be interesting to see how those players do gel, because, you know, top players want to play, and they have a lot of depth in their roster and players that are used to playing significant minutes. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's also managed.
Yeah, Mac Hemme has his hands full with that group in Lexington.
And of course, that's a good problem to have,
no doubt about it,
than a weak roster. As I say, I always think the teams that do best over the longevity of the season are the ones who have depth in their roster, because if you're a good team, you go deep cup runs, you go Open Cup, league runs, you know that you're going to play more games in the peak of the summer. The players' bodies are going to get beat up, and you're going to need the depth in your roster to sustain those good performances.
And we're seeing a test of San Antonio's depth tonight. A lot of the regulars not in the starting 11. Short turnaround after the game on Wednesday against FC Tulsa, traveling out to the West Coast. So some of the normal names that you're used to seeing in the starting 11 for Carlos Hermosa, not in there tonight. And so other guys getting a look, getting some minutes. Mikey Maldonado, who was one of 2 players to have played every minute this season, not in there tonight, as Sordo tried to play that across. And he is whistled for the foul as he tried to win it back. Carlos Hermosa hoping it's not deja vu for his group after another strong start. And after that 4-0-0 March of 2025, they ended up 5-4-1 through the first 10 matches. And for them, the key, you know, if they can get the first goal, if they can be ahead at halftime, that's pretty much a lock for them to get 3 points. But can they do it here on the West Coast on the road in a stadium they did not score in last year? Sanchez, some trouble with it. Thiago Suarez for Buckmaster. Sanchez can be a little bit shaky at times with the ball at his feet.
Eurofave.
He scored against Lexington, has a couple of goals this season. The 18-year-old Russian.
What's your consensus on Monterey Bay's ambitions for this season? You think it's a continuing rebuilding year? Do you think there's a little bit pressure to get results and to be in the playoff hunt and to climb the season? Or do you think it's still very much a building project where they have the time and there's not immediate pressure to get results?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I also think that for Jordan Stewart, being that this is his second full season, third with the club as the head coach, he took over in the middle of 2024, with what they've brought in, I think there's enough here for this team to compete for a playoff spot. They got off to a really good start in 2025 and then faltered the rest of the way. I mean, you look at a guy like Wesley Leggett, Amari Glasgow we talk about, Riley Bidois, Johnny Klein, Lalo Blancas, Leggett, obviously. I mean, there is talent on this roster that should be able to compete for a postseason position.
How patient do you think the ownership group are? Do you think they wait
It's not a question for me to answer. I mean, look, we always enjoy talking to Jordan Stewart, and I think he realizes the reality of the situation. At a certain point, it's got to turn for the better.
Because as you see, the crowd is showing up.
Yeah, for sure.
And, they're showing up.
Sordo to his left. Sordo drags towards the middle, tees it up with his left foot, never got through. Kept alive for Eurofave. Eurofave to his right, unleashes and misses everything.
The crowd is showing up right now when they're, at the lower end of the table. But can you imagine what the atmosphere would be like, the fan base would be like, should they find themselves up at the top of the table, really competing for that #1 position?
It's exciting to think about, it really is. Monterey Bay, Monterey, California, a wonderful place to be. Beautiful weather as we're seeing tonight. You ever been there?
No, but it is on one of the places I'd like to. I've always heard good things.
I've been there.
About it as a place.
It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. For the record, been to San Antonio as well. Great city too.
The Alamo.
Yeah, great food there.
Yeah.
Elijah Paul, miscommunication there, out for a throw to San Antonio. This high press from Monterey Bay forces a corner. That is just dealt with not great by San Antonio.
Yeah, I imagine the coach himself are pretty frustrated giving away a corner kick in from such a circumstance. You find a way to play forward, you clear the danger. The last thing you want to do is give away a needless set piece and allow Monterey Bay the opportunity to deliver a set piece into the box here when you had good possession of the ball.
So Leggett will take the corner, hoping to bounce back from his missed penalty against Vegas last week. Delivers, back post, nobody home, and Crispin Kelp. Joel Garcia pops it back over the top. Leggett trying to get there, flicked up into the air. It'll be a throw-in for Monterey Bay. Leggett, the former national teamer, he wins another corner. This is another good, strong 23 minutes to open the match for Jordan Stewart and Monterey Bay. But to your point earlier, can they turn this good start into a goal and into a lead?
Yeah, and as you spoke about, Leggett and the experience that he brings to this squad, you've got to find a way to make him work, to get the best out of him, either to provide the service that he needs or he needs to be the provider. But with the level of experience and the quality that he brings to this group, he has to have a big impact. There's no question that the team either has to play for him or he has to be the creator for the team.
Another corner kick coming for Monterey Bay. It seemed like last week against Vegas, he and Riley Bidois really found something in the opening 20, but they were not able to convert on any of their chances. They were taking advantage of something that Vegas was leaving open, and just again, that final execution not there.
You can correct me because you're normally a little bit more accurate on the stats than me, but looking at his goal scoring contributions.
Get to it after this corner. Ball curled in, the header went the wrong way. Mileshevich basically did the job for San Antonio and got the clearance for him. Euro fave.
Looking at the Jets' goal scoring contributions over the years, it seems that the max goals that he scored in a year was back in 2020 when he scored 6 for Los LA Galaxy. Since then, there's not been a season where it looks like he's scored more than 6 goals. So you can't imagine that he's up there to be the main goal scorer, given that he doesn't seem to have done that for a number of years. So you imagine that his role is to be the provider for the other players around him. Yes?
Leadership, provider, score a bit, but also facilitate.
And obviously the experience.
Yeah.
You know, 4 years at LA Galaxy, a year at New England Revolution, 6-7 years at LA Galaxy. Started off at West Ham in the Premier League, so he knows the game extremely well. And having that ability to lead the people around him, guidance, leadership on the field, just the presence alone, you know, the aura that he brings to the team around him, having him on, I imagine attracts a lot of attention and pressure and frees up space for his teammates.
You know, I asked Jordan Stewart about that because you look at the way that this team and their acquisitions they brought in this season compared to the ones last year. There's a lot more experience, whether that's Leggett in MLS or his time in the Premier League, or Riley Bidois, or Wesley Leggett, or Johnny Klein, or Amari Glasgow, who all have USL Championship experience, versus the guys they brought in last year, a lot of next pro talent, which they still have a little bit of, but other guys who had never played in USL Championship before. And it seems like that was a concerted effort in how they built the team this year, was to get guys who have been there and done that. Played towards the middle, never got all the way through, and it's cleared away by Monterey Bay.
Ball ricocheted inside the box there. Monterey Bay fortunate to clear it away in the end.
Don't miss all the exciting action of Monterey Bay FC with a group outing starting at $25. Plus, enjoy exclusive fan experiences like Walkout Kids, Ball Kids, the High Five Tunnel, halftime contests, and more. Visit MontereyBayFC.com for more details. What more could you want on a night like this than to be out at Cardinale Stadium enjoying the beautiful game? And these fans hoping to see Monterey Bay come up with its first win in 2026. They started last year 4-1-2, finished the rest of the regular season 3-14-6. They went winless over the course of 3 months from June to September.
Monterey Bay defending in a 4-4-2 formation. You can see here Glasgow on the left of that 4, but they're not pressuring San Antonio's defense very effectively. You can see San Antonio clearly in a back 3. Should the front 2 from Monterey Bay, they can easily make it man for man and eliminate one of those defenders if they go more aggressive, but they're just allowing San Antonio to have the ball, shift the point of attack, and over time the legs wear out, you get frustrated, the holes start to pair in your team's shape, and that's when they'll look to take advantage of you.
Race for it, won by Farnsworth, one of those next pro talents. Farnsworth, in his first season, spent the last 6 in the Real Monarchs organization. Did sign a first-team contract as a homegrown player with RSL. Leggett tried to sneak that through.
I would say that Glasgow's pace did look more threatening when he was making runs through the center of the field. He hasn't really got the ball in wide areas to be isolated 1v1, and the ball really hasn't been played in the spaces in the wide areas for him to utilize that speed. So while no doubt he does have the abilities and the capabilities to threaten from the wide areas, Monterey Bay haven't been able to utilize those spaces to be efficient in the attack. So maybe it is a situation where they need to put the speed more central. They need to try and play behind the San Antonio defense and make that speed a threat and have San Antonio's defense drop a little deeper where they can get high up the field and possess.
Comes down for Leggett.
And I say that because there's nothing more threatening for a defense than speed, especially when the ball is turned and you're running towards your own goal. That speed becomes a big threat, and it psychologically makes defenders want to drop off. And the more they drop off, the more space there either becomes in the midfield or the whole team starts to drop deeper. And once they drop deeper, you can now be a more aggressive keeping possession and building in the offensive half rather than having the most of possession in your defensive half. So I would say if you have those weapons and those assets, find the best way to utilize them and put them on the front foot and galvanize the weapons that you have, the strengths that you have as a team.
It's been a low event first half hour. Monterey Bay still in search of its first shot attempt. That's a foul. Neither team has gotten a shot on target. San Antonio have attempted two.
On top of that, Glasgow's right-footed. So if you have him on the left side, he's always going to want to come in the field where there's numbers rather than isolating himself in wide areas and going down 1v1 where he can use his speed in the space and isolate defenders and take them on. On the left side, he's going to always come inside. And I'm not sure he's that inverted winger who comes in and plays the final pass or whips in the cross. I think he's more the one you want to find in space, delivering low crosses into the box or cutting in on his right foot and finishing himself.
Played in by Lemtadze. Leggett hustling over, keeps it alive. Nakamura, flag stays down. He puts it across. On the volley. There's the first shot on goal. Sanchez falls on it. That was from Glasgow.
And he finds himself naturally popping up on the right-hand side. We spoke about him operating on the left-hand side, but he's been a little bit more effective in this game when he's been central and operating on the right-hand side. Excellent play to keep this in play. He does well. He gets over the ball, keeps it on frame, forces the goalkeeper into a save. But he's been the most lively offensive player in this first half for Monterey Bay, Amari Glasgow.
Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on TUDN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com for more of the complete USL TV listings.
I think we're mic'd up to Jordan Stewart because it looks like Amari Glasgow has now gone onto that right-hand side that we were just speaking about. Or maybe the players are taking it amongst themselves and they have the autonomy to switch it amongst themselves, which is even better. They can mix things up and be a little bit unpredictable.
Lemtadze took it away. Pressure by E.J. Johnson. First time we've said his name. He's on a 25-day contract with San Antonio FC. Former Oakland Root.
I'm not going to beat you to death with statistics, but I will throw a couple of statistics here. So far in this game, San Antonio, 63% possession. But guess what that 63 possession has turned in terms of shots on target?
Well, I can look at the screen. Zero
shots on target. Right now, the expected goals, despite 63 possession, is 0.26. So it does fall in line with what we spoke about before game. If you're dominating the game with 63% possession, can you create more goal-scoring opportunities? You've scored 5 goals so far this season, but given your dominance, can you be the teams that are getting 10 goals, 9 goals, a little bit more offensive output for the possession that you have? And I think that is where San Antonio need to evolve. Defensively, very, very good. They've only allowed 1 shot on target, and that was Amari Glasgow's shot that he just hit a couple moments ago. But offensively, can they be more creative themselves? Can they make more goal-scoring chances? Because there's been nothing really to excite us in the offense for San Antonio. We know they're a good team. We know they're competing for the top of the table right now. But offensively, there's nothing to get you out of your seat right now in the opening 32 minutes that is really galvanizing the fans or even potentially looks threatening.
Played back towards Sanchez. Great mustache for Richard.
We spoke about Hernandez in the pre-game, and you know, what he brings offensively in his build-up play and his ability to convert chances, but we've hardly mentioned his name in this opening half so far.
Towards goal. Ambitious attempt from Lamtadze. Sanchez makes the stop.
It's not a bad attempt at all. You can't knock him. He actually strikes this ball well. Sometimes these kind of strikes can pick up the wind and find themselves in the top corner. He forces a save out of Sanchez, but they're the two chances that we've had on goal. It's been Amari Glasgow's volley, and then that shot from distance have been the only two moments in the game so far that have forced either goalkeeper to make a save.
Second shot on target for Monterey Bay. Well, Garcia gets ahead to it. Tadze for Nakamura. Delgado, the 19-year-old keeper. Swahi stepped up. E.J. Johnson tried to play it through, unable to. Again, good defending on that back line from Monterey Bay.
Yeah, as we spoke about, Delgado, whether it resonates or not, it's a big accomplishment from him to be 19 years old and be the #1 goalkeeper in the USL Championship. You know, goalkeeper in general is a position where you don't really get to have that opportunity until you get a little bit older, because goalkeepers generally play a little bit longer than outfield players also. And the experience and wisdom and ability to manage a defense and your intuition that you gather over time is one of the most invaluable things that you can have as a goalkeeper. Having the trust and belief from his head coach at just 19 years old probably says a lot about what they see in training to feel like he's the main man that they want to put in between the sticks.
And he was a rising prospect out of the RSL Academy. He repped the Mexican national team at the U17 level. He appeared in his first USL Championship match at just 15 years old, the youngest goalkeeper ever.
It's quite incredible.
The Jet curls it in. Bouncing around in the box. I don't think Monterey Bay knew where it was. Sordo mishit the clear. And a foul will go against the Crispin Kelp. I
don't know. I have to see it again because I feel like there's a little bit of sales here. Went to ground a little bit easy here. Definitely an element of how do you say that? You know, when people are diving and play acting and theatrical. Theatrical, but definitely a little theatrical. He went down. There was contact, but
embellishment.
That's out of my vocabulary, that.
Exaggerated.
Exaggerated, yeah, that's the one, exaggerated. Definitely exaggerated the contact.
You know, I asked Jordan Stewart about Fernando Delgado, and he said, look, you know, I always say to our players that age doesn't really exist anymore, and they see Delgado as someone who can make it to the next level in this game. They push him every day. They work him hard on and off the pitch because, of course, he has a lot to learn. But he's really good with the ball at his feet already, and the saves he's made has been excellent. They have a lot of trust in him, but the place that they want to see him improve upon, when you think about how intimidating it is for a keeper to be commanding of the guys in front of him, that back line, the communication. Sometimes for a 19-year-old keeper with some veterans in front of you, it could be a bit intimidating. And being a vocal leader on the pitch is one of the areas they're really trying to work on with him, and he's been receptive to it.
And you need experience with that. So the games that he's getting will allow him to grow in confidence with that. But it's the way you communicate, the tone of your voice, reading the game and having the knowledge of the game to communicate efficiently and early. Goalkeepers who are able to command their back line often have more success because they can proactively put the defenders in positions to snuff out attacks. They have the whole game in front of them. They can see the field. They can be a little bit more proactive in giving instructions. So goalkeepers who have that ability to communicate definitely have a higher value. Listen, so far for 37 minutes, he's not had to make a save. So he's having a man of the match performance. For a 19-year-old, you're 37 minutes into the game and you're keeping a clean sheet against San Antonio, the #1 team or #2 team in the league right now. So he's doing a fantastic job.
Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Paul making the choice to cross it in. It was low. Played away by San Antonio. Race is on. Sordo beat to the spot by Egu.
Revisiting the conversation around age and if you're good enough, you're old enough. I love that. I love it when young players are good enough to go onto the pitch and compete and participate irrespective of how old they are. What I'm not so much a fan of is the way that the business aspect has come in, and we know that based upon the business aspect that the highest resale value.
Played out in front. Buckmaster for Hernandez. Hernandez keeps it alive.
The highest resale value from the business perspective is that between 18 and 23 is when players have their biggest value and you can get the biggest sell for them. So you see older players who, again, are still very capable being frozen out the game a little bit in favor of younger players who may potentially have a higher resale value going forward. And, you know, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you have the ability, you're still impactful in the game. It shouldn't impact, but you're definitely seeing teams build rosters with a certain average age and making a preference for younger players despite older players still having the ability to compete at a very high level and to have an impact in the game. So I'm all for, if you're good enough, you're old enough, irrespective of which side of the pendulum you're sitting on, it's your impact in the game, your ability to still perform at the highest level.
You've got a background in coaching youth teams and youth soccer, so you, of course, know a lot about that.
Oh, and obviously you get to the back end of your career also, and people start to talk about age. They don't talk so much about what you're doing on the pitch. They just say the number that you are in terms of age. We've seen Canado Forbes, you know, the impact he had right up to the point where he decided he's not playing anymore. It's not about age. It's about what you bring to the table. And I'll add to that, young players do need senior professionals to grow and learn from.
Yep.
You need, if you're a young midfielder, you need an older player on the pitch to teach you your trade. You need somebody on the field talking to you, giving you information, guiding you in your position. It's all good having youngsters along youngsters, but they don't have the experience to teach while they're on the pitch, and that is that's the biggest school, the biggest education is when you're on the pitch and the older players are talking to you and putting you into positions and guiding you.
Someone like Sebastian Leggett.
For sure.
Off the free kick towards Sanchez, and he leaps and makes the catch.
Legit, is one of the veterans on the field, 33. We spoke about Delgado, 19. Glasgow, 23.
In the midfield.
There's a good balance of age on here, and I think that's the good thing that USL Championship has. You know, it's a league where people put the food on their table through playing. So the intensity, what it means to perform, what it means to the players, what it means to their families. It's not just a youth league where it's youngsters competing against youngsters. It's a real league with real value and real consequences attached to both success and failure.
Second minute. Monterey Bay have done a real nice job in this half, limiting San Antonio in the attack. E.J. Johnson, though, trying to change that. He whips it across, nobody home.
Yeah, I think if you're a neutral turning on the TV and you don't know anything about the league standings right now, you would definitely not look at the way this first half has played out and say this is a bottom team playing against a second from top team. The best chances in the game so far have come to Monterey Bay. They haven't been able to take advantage of them, but they've created the better chances so far in this game.
Look at the speed of Glasgow, and Paul was making a run to the right. That ball went to the left, and that attack fizzled out for Monterey Bay.
Yeah, you're just seeing a lack of understanding between the two players. Glasgow's looking to play the 1-2, to play the ball into Paul and get it back. Paul's making the run into the channel. So just the chemistry and cohesion that comes with playing together with each other over time, just lacking there. But you envision these are things that you can see that will blossom in the future.
Monterey Bay looking for its first win this season. Carlos Humosa and San Antonio looking to remain unbeaten. Monterey just one goal in its first 4 games. San Antonio have conceded just 1 in the first 4. And it was on a PK, so they haven't conceded in the run of play yet.
I would say for both teams, you're looking for that creative player that really makes the difference. You know, that number 10 who picks up the ball and has the ability to play that diagonal or that disguised pass or switch the point of attack or really change the tempo of the game. Both players lacking that special talent. Both teams, I would say, not both players, both teams lacking that player standing up right now, displaying that they have the capabilities to be that special talent that really makes the difference.
Glasgow held up. And finally, the whistle blows.
See, Glasgow, we've spoken about what he brings, but look, he's the one deep, picking up the ball so deep and dribbling. I feel like he needs to be the player on the last line where you have that creative midfielder feeding him the balls in behind or feeding him into space. When he has to be the one deep and trying to pick up the ball and make things happen, it kind of tells you that there's a place missing in the team to be the connector between the defense and the offensive players.
Delgado to put it in play. Nakamura tried to float it for Glasgow. Leggett on it. Milosevic whips it in. It's Joel Garcia, still loose, shot off Suahi and wide. And out for a corner. Lamtanze had the chance.
Another good opportunity here for Monterey Bay. Great delivery into the box. The ball's bouncing around. Again, Lamtanze, a great opportunity to adjust his feet there and guide that volley on target. He does, and he kind of stays still, and the ball's behind him. The ball ricochets out again, tries to get the shot off, and it ends up being a good block from San Antonio. But again, the best chances in this first half have fallen to Monterey Bay. I would say they're just lacking the killer instinct. They're lacking somebody with a quality inside the 18-yard box to really make these opportunities count.
Lamtanze delivers. It's a good ball. Comes down, the shot, and it's in, but a foul before that. Milosevic thought he had Monterey Bay on top, and that's the kind of start to the season it's been for the Crispin Kelp.
No, but I think this puts the ice in that the first half has for sure been in favor of Monterey Bay. Great delivered ball into the box here. At the back post all alone, that's terrible marking from San Antonio to have a player in the box at the far stick all alone. But unfortunately, free kick was called prior to the ball entering the back of the net, and looks like the score will remain 0-0 going into half time.
San Antonio and Jorge Hernandez trying to rush up one more time before the half ends. Here's San Antonio's bench. They wanted a foul. Hernandez, back heel. Buckmaster slides it. Agu was there. Joel Garcia supports, and it's cleared away. Now just waiting on the whistle. And there it is for halftime. 0-0 at the half. A strong performance at home in the opening 45 for Monterey Bay. San Antonio will certainly want more in the second.
Yeah, it wasn't really an exhibition of aesthetically pleasing soccer for the first half, but you can only imagine it has to get better for San Antonio in the second half. For Monterey Bay, you'd say decent first half given where their current situation is and where they currently sit. But they would look to build and be a little bit more clinical in the attacking third, because if they sit like this, despite the chances they had, it's only a matter of time before San Antonio get themselves an opportunity to get in the score sheet. So Monterey Bay have to be a little bit more ruthless and killer instinct in the attacking third to give themselves a chance to go ahead. And then who knows what can happen from there.
We'll come back to Seaside at Cardinale Stadium in just a moment with more at the half. San Antonio 0, Monterey Bay 0 at the half here on the West Coast.
It all starts with a spark, an idea.
That idea ignites into a dream.
The dream sharpens into a vision.
The vision fuels a process.
And through relentless craftsmanship, that process is forged into reality. Your vision,
Our craftsmanship.
one unforgettable legacy.
Welcome back to Cardinale Stadium in Seaside. Teddy Bear toss. 0-0 at the half. The fans hoping to see some goals tossed into the net. And their side earned their first win of the season. Back with more at the half after this.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything.
This spring, stay 3 nights and get a $50 Best Western gift card.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything.
This spring, stay 3 nights and get a $50 Best Western gift card.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything.
This spring, stay 3 nights and get a $50 Best Western gift card.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Prinks Tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines. From early mornings to late nights. From fun with friends to winner takes all. From the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks Tires will be there for the long haul.
The header is down! It's in! Charleston take the lead and stop it!
Nice ball, sends it in! Doubles the Rowdies lead!
Starting to plan your summer vacation? Enjoy the ease and convenience of the Monterey Regional Airport. And now, starting this summer, you can fly to Chicago. Enjoy once-weekly nonstop Chicago service on United Airlines. Fly direct to Chicago for leisure, business, or to make flight connections across the United States and the world. New Chicago service on United Airlines. It's easy, it's convenient, it's the Monterey Regional Airport. To learn more, visit MontereyAirport.com.
0-0 at the half, Monterey Bay and San Antonio. Crispin Kelp looking for win number 1. San Antonio FC looking to remain unbeaten. We send it now to the Golazo halftime update.
It is halftime in the USL Championship. We hope you're enjoying your match so far. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with a look at some of the headlines for this week. Louisville City became the first club to win 200 regular season matches in the USL Championship with its 1-0 victory at Brooklyn FC. Louisville accomplishes that feat in 342 regular season matches. Round 2 of the U.S. Open Cup featured some great matchups between championship clubs. Rhode Island FC knocks off El Clamico rival Hartford 2-0 on a soggy night. Here are the clubs from USL that are headed to the third round. USL is very busy in the upcoming weeks on national television. Next Saturday, Sporting Jacks at Detroit City on 2DN. Then a pair of matches on the CBS Sports Network. Saturday the 18th, a 3 o'clock start. Tampa Bay Rowdies at Charleston Battery. El Clamico returns on Saturday the 25th, this time in the Prinks Tires USL Cup. That's a look at the headlines for this week. Let's get you back to your match for the second half.
On the front lines, you're there when you're needed.
Get this thing rolling.
Before you're needed. On the front lines, you see what others can't. On the front lines, you use every tool possible to deliver safe and reliable gas and electricity. Because you don't just serve your community, you're a part of it. PG&E, on the front lines for us all.
USL on CBS is presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel partner of the United Soccer League. Welcome back to Cardinale Stadium, 0-0 at the half, San Antonio and Monterey Bay. Josh Appel, Chris Nurse with you from Seaside, as the Crisp and Kelp faithful hope to see And here are the first half stats. Possession heavily in favor of San Antonio, but they really weren't able to do anything with it. Credit Monterey Bay.
Yeah, and that's why I highlighted before the game. They're 5 goals so far this season. It's a little bit underwhelming for the expectations of San Antonio. They're dominating possession, yes, but they're not that threatening. They're not that exciting going forward. It's going to be interesting to see how they tweak that in the second half. Obviously, we know they're missing some big names, some big personnel, but you'd expect a little bit more from them so far in the first half of this game. If you're really a #1 team playing against the bottom team, you exude that dominance, you exude that confidence, you create numerous goals for opportunity. The #1 team doesn't come up against the 12th team at half-time having no shots on target. It's going to be really interesting to see how they approach the second half, or maybe they're content with the way things are going. I don't think they can be content with it. I think we have to see some changes in the way they approach the game, and maybe some personnel changes.
Well, I was about to say, you wonder with the short week and the travel out to the West Coast if if San Antonio is just content playing for the draw. Here are the out-of-town scores from today. We talked about that massive result in Lou City. Charleston, a 2-0 win there. A couple of draws in the midday. Switchbacks in Lexington. Loudoun United, Birmingham, still both winless on the season. That was an exciting 2-2 game. Indy 11, draw with the defending champs. Pittsburgh 1-1. Rhode Island and Detroit City both had chances at the end. Neither could convert. That was a 0-0 draw. Tampa Bay Rowdies, we mentioned it earlier as well. Last minute, stoppage time. Rowdies remain on the winning streak. 4 in a row to open the season. El Paso puts up 3 and takes down Las Vegas 3-2. And then 2 games at the half that each started at 10 o'clock. 1-0 New Mexico up on Orange County. And you see the other match as well. 2-0 in favor of Sacramento Republic over the struggling Phoenix Rising.
Of course, San Antonio started the night as #1 in the Western Conference. El Paso are there and thereabouts with them. El Paso currently have 10 points. If this game was to stand as it is and San Antonio get a point, they would still be above them on 11 points.
And we're underway in half number 2 at Seaside. No changes for either side in the second half. Josh Appel, Chris Nurse with you.
No personnel changes, but we are looking for a change in approach from San Antonio specifically. Can they create more goal-scoring opportunities? A really lackluster, disappointing first half from San Antonio. A team where you're expecting to see a performance, you're expecting to see entertainment. In that first half, we didn't see any of it. The best opportunities definitely fell to Monterey Bay. A little bit more clinicality, a little bit more luck going their way, and they could definitely be in the lead in this game.
The Jet trying to win it. Sordo ends up with it for San Antonio. Now E.J. Johnson couldn't get by Milesevic, and that's a throw-in going to Monterey Bay.
You mentioned about San Antonio's scheduling and trying to keep players healthy and rotation of the squad. I think if there's one thing I really valued about Louisville City over the past couple of seasons is their intent to win every match, irrespective of what phase of the season it is and irrespective of who the opponent was. There was games when they played Loudoun and they maybe only had 30% of the possession, but they ran out the game 4-0 winners. They were intent that every game they had to approach with a mentality that nothing besides 3 points in a win was acceptable. And obviously, I believe that's one of the factors that allowed them to have so much success over the years under Danny Cruz. Even though the championship eluded them, over the course of 9 months, for a couple of seasons, they were the #1 team. And I always believe that to be the #1 team over 9 months is the hardest thing to do because it requires consistency. You can get a team that is okay, finishes 8th, and then wins the championship, okay? We respect that path to success also, but I think consistency, week in, week out, day after day, month after month, also has to be recognized, and that's what Louisville were able to do in dominance for a number of seasons.
That's a hard foul by Farnsworth on E.J. Johnson. Yeah, Lou City, no doubt, the class of USL Championship. First club ever to reach 200 wins. But they haven't had that postseason success since they went back-to-back in 2017, 2018. In fact, the last time Lou City made it to a USL Championship final was back in 2022, and they lost to San Antonio, who won the Players' Shield and the USL title.
And, of course, I have to favor my European foundations, that the #1 team in regular season is what is more celebrated than the playoffs. But we all know the
Hernandez, good ball in, but it's headed high over the bar. Good opportunity, maybe the best one of the night for San Antonio.
The playoff is often the more remembered team.
Our good friend Gary Bailey said the same thing earlier today.
So if you know what it takes to be the #1 team over 9 months, you know the sacrifices, you know what goes on in that locker room, you know what goes on the training field. There's no way you can try to override it and validate it for a good 3-week spell at the end of the season. You know what it takes to be #1 over 9 months. If you've been in those trenches, you always are going to understand the value of being able to do that, because you know what happens on the flip side when you don't do it and you find yourself in a relegation battle, which isn't the case yet, but soon could become in the USL Championship. You know what it's like to be in a relegation battle also, and the repercussions of that, and how you have to dig deep to get yourself out of those circumstances. Once you've been in the trenches and you've experienced it at both ends, you know which side you value a little bit more. And I think maybe without being in the trenches with the USL not having promotion relegation, people lack the actual feeling or experience of having been there and been through those emotions. And
that will soon come.
When it arrives, I think you see a different level of intensity and passion there.
Nelson Flores Blanco, low, and scooped up by Delgado. Richard Sanchez making his first start of the season in place of Joey Batruni, who leads the league with 3 clean sheets, tied for 7th in saves entering today. And there are quite a few regulars who are not in there tonight for Carlos Llamosa and San Antonio. And, you know, you understand as we talked about the circumstances of the travel and the short week, but, you know, if you're Monterey Bay and you're Jordan Stewart, are you not telling your team this is what they think of you?
Yeah,
they're not playing their A group tonight.
Maybe you have to focus on playing whatever group they put out there, whether it's the A group or the B group. You got to focus on playing your game and doing the best that you can. And whatever group's out there for San Antonio, the objective should remain the same. You're out there to win the game. So I think that if the whatever group is out there don't take advantage of that, then you only limit your opportunities in the future, because if you're not a starter and you get the chance to play tonight, then you want to put yourself in those conversations to be in that starting 11. So you've got to go out there, you perform individually, you've got to get the job done as a team, because as we spoke about, it's not always the most talented individuals that makes the best team. There's an element of chemistry, there's an element of cohesiveness, and these two players just work well together irrespective of where they may be on the talent scale. And I think coaches also look into that. Hey, when there's the combination of players together, we win and we dominate. When we put the most talented players, maybe that is not the case, and coaches take that into consideration as well over the course of the season.
Sanchez pressured up high, but was able to get it away. Barbier moves it into the middle. Sordo long down the middle for Johnson, never got to him. Egu headed it away. Now it's Farnsworth. He clears. Soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more for the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Flores Blanco for Barbier.
So those opportunities for Monterey Bay earlier in the game, the 3 shots, the two shots that they had on target, they start to look a little bit more valuable as the game progresses. Because if you look at possession now 67% in the hands of San Antonio, which means when Monterey Bay do have those counter-attacking moments when they go and create goal-scoring opportunities, you've got to make it count, because you're not dominating possession of the ball. You're not going to have that many chances. So the few that you do, you've got to take. Again, we highlight 68% possession now for San Antonio, still yet to register 1 shot on target. So what does that possession mean? It's pretty aimless right now. You're keeping possession of the ball, you're passing, but you're not creating goal-scoring opportunities. That's a waste of possession, if you ask me. So they've got to find a way to turn that possession into dominance. There's no way you can come off the pitch and beat your chest about having 68% possession and 0 shots on target.
Quite impressive, honestly. Yeah, but coaches talk all the time, and you alluded to it there. Possession's great, but if you don't do anything with it, then what's the point?
Yeah, I would say you're almost frustrating yourself. You have 68% possession and you don't get a shot on target. Like at some point, the players on the field would be getting frustrated.
Leggett plays it in, flicked up into the air. Swahi heads it down. Leggett patrolling, but it's cleared away by Kalov.
And at some point, Monterey Bay actually recognize you're not doing anything in possession. They say, hey, drop off, keep your shape, let them have the ball. They're not doing it. They can't hurt you with anything, because they're not really creating anything or showing any consistent ideas right now. So really, it could play into Monterey Bay's hands, where they say, hey, let San Antonio have the ball. We'll hit them on the counter-attack as we have done. We've had the best chances so far in this game. Stick to the plan.
The only chances in this game.
Yeah. But then they do need to be dynamic and lightning when they do go on the counter-attack. And that's where you have to have your Amari Glasgow's going at full speed to counteract and maximize those moments.
Wonder when we'll see a guy like Riley Bidois or Johnny Klein at some point in this match. Rebel Yard, Lalo Blancas. Can't see all of them, but you wonder when these coaches will make their first changes.
Normally they start to dip into the 65th minute.
Good ball here. Elijah Paul.
I imagine both teams envision if they keep the game tight up to the last 30, 25 minutes, then they can throw on those players and see if they can have an impact and go for the winner in the last third of the game.
Egu. Mileshevich. Glasgow. Doing a lot of running tonight. Ross. Paul, physical around Thiago. Paul slipped. Regains control of himself. Lamtadze Curls it. Back post. Joel Garcia, it's over him. He's trying to keep it in. He's able to. There's a shove. And no foul. Play rolls on. Long ball for E.J. Johnson. Agu shields him off.
I thought Monterey Bay could have been a little bit more dynamic in the attack there. Paul does ever so well to win that ball, and I feel like that's where Body should have been running forward. They should have been making it a 2v1. Unfortunately, when he wins that ball, he's on his own for a long period of time and has to hold it up, and then San Antonio are able to get Bodies back behind the ball and obviously snuff out the attack. But there was a great counter-attacking moment there for Monterey Bay that they could have took advantage of when Paul went and was tenacious with able to win that ball, even though the odds are against him.
The Jet. Now Ross. Mileshevich. Over Elijah Paul. Buckmaster clears it away, out for a Monterey Bay throw.
Tough area to deliver across from there and make it count. Maybe in those moments, Monterey Bay just be a little bit more patient up in their build-up and sustain possession of the ball in the attacking third for a little bit longer rather than just rushing and delivering the ball into the box where there's a low percentage that they're able to convert.
Could this be the moment for San Antonio?
Strong contact there. Referee allowed play to continue, gave them the advantage.
Great recovery there by Monterey Bay. That fizzled out.
I think he comes back now and gives the yellow card for the foul earlier.
Edson Carvajal explaining himself. Now a couple of players down. Jorge Hernandez mixing it up with Joel Garcia. And by the way, if you can't watch the match, turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights with Mike Watts and Devin Kerr. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Corner once more for San Antonio as we approach the 1 hour mark.
Bagel corner, corner kick.
Hernandez taking his time. Still no shots on target for San Antonio, but their XG is approaching 0.5. Hernandez delivers in. Suahi heads it out. Suahi wanted a foul. He will not get it. E.J. Johnson pleading his case as well. It's a goal kick for Fernando Delgado.
Definitely some touch-type marking there. I would say good defending. Keeping his body on the attacker, making sure there's contact, not allowing them time and space to get a free header off, and evidently able to nullify the danger.
Monterey Bay FC, goal kick.
San Antonio will make its first changes of the night. They are as follows. Akeem O'Connor-Ward will come on for Reese Buckmaster. Christian Sordo will come off in favor of Christian Pirano, who leads the team with 3 assists. And Luke Hawkinson will make his second appearance of the season. He's only played 17 minutes, and he'll come on for E.J. Johnson. So we see Carlos Llamosa, the first coach to go to his bench, try and kickstart things for his side. No shots on goal through 1 hour.
Perano is a really exciting player. I remember when he was first coming through at San Antonio when he was just 16 years old. It may have still been the Scorpions back then. But a young player, so exciting, attacking on the ball, able to make things happen, creative, could take chances himself and create for his teammates. So expect to see him have a positive impact on the offense for these remaining 30 minutes of the game.
It's his third stint with San Antonio. 2019 Young Player of the Year. Had been with Sacramento for the last 3 seasons. I mentioned San Antonio won the double in 2022. He was part of that team.
He obviously has a good energy with the fans and the organization. Having the, I wouldn't say the freedom, but the opportunity to explore other opportunities and come back to the club that gave you your first break as a young professional, I think is always valuable. Maybe sometimes you have to leave to realize where home really is and where you felt happy and where you play your best soccer. Of course, that's not always the case. Sometimes players leave and they come back. It's not the second time. The second time is not the same experience or the same relationship with the fans as the first, but you hope that's able to be established and repaired over time.
Five shot attempts, none on goal for San Antonio. 4 and 2 for Monterey Bay, but as we pointed out, possession heavily favoring San Antonio. Kalov from Hawkinson, trying to lay it back for Kalov, but Egu. And there's a whistle back behind the play. Flores Blanco went down, and he's slow to get up. And so the whistle stops play. Elijah Paul picked up a yellow a moment ago as well.
I think Monterey Bay would want nothing more there than to steal a late winner, excite their fans and bring the joy and happiness to them inside their home stadium.
They haven't had much to cheer about this season. In fact, the only goal they've scored this season came on the road in the 1-1 draw to Sac Republic, which is a great result for this group. Not many teams can go to Sacramento and earn a result. They've been outscored at home 4-0 against Oakland and El Paso. 1-0 loss to Oakland to open the season. 3-0 in week 2 against El Paso. And then the 1-1 draw followed by the 1-0 defeat at Vegas last week. Delgado puts it in play. Paul. Working on Akeem O'Connor-Ward. First substitution for Monterey Bay and Jordan Stewart. Wesley Leggett will come on for Georgie Lamtadze. Leggett has the only goal this season for Monterey Bay.
Lamtadze had a couple glimpses on goal himself. Volley that he could have readjusted and potentially had a better connection with.
Long throw looking for Paul. Now Leggett. Good combo on the volley, but sent well high by Nick Ross into the seats.
Yeah, that never looked like it was going on frame. Always leaning back high over it.
Ross wearing the captain's armband.
Good header from Leggett.
Ross was Christian Pirano's teammate for the last 3 seasons in Sacramento. eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play, and you can download it now. Hernandez. Pirano.
You immediately see Pirano. He's just a little bit different when he's in possession of the ball. His touches, the way he moves, a little bit more dynamic. Has the ability to destabilize offenses and make things happen with his low center of gravity and the ability to beat players.
So space for Eurofave. He steps into it from distance and misses wide. And you just feel like on paper this San Antonio team should be able to create more with the personnel they have.
Yeah, as we spoke about, they've only scored 5 goals this season.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a little underwhelming. The offense, you know, you cannot knock where they are in the league. You cannot knock they're off to a good start. But again, you want to see that defense looking more threatening. And they looked a little underwhelming in that aspect, whether it's the ability to time runs in behind or just maintain possession, switch the point of attack and get their wingers going 1v1. Whether it's driving through the midfield and really testing the goalkeeper. There's a number of offensive aspects that are lacking for a team that you really expect more from going forward.
They have still not given up a goal since they conceded to Phoenix Rising in game 1 of the season. 0-0 draw at Tulsa, 1-0 win against New Mexico, 2-0 win against Lexington. They were held scoreless against Tulsa in the Open Cup earlier this week. And so far through 68 minutes, they're scoreless tonight without a shot on goal. Flores Blanco pushes it ahead. That's past Hawkinson, and then Egu clears it away. It'll be a throw for San Antonio. Pirano. Flores Blanco, his cross. Egu.
All right,
away by Mileshevich.
Got a surprising stat for you. You know, I like to pull these out every now and then. I think you'll like this one. So there's a huge disparity, not just a little disparity, there's a huge disparity in possession. San Antonio currently sit at around 65% possession, Monterey Bay at 35% possession. But when you look at passes in the final third, with San Antonio having 65% possession, do you think there's a large disparity of passes in the final third?
You would think.
Well, you think, but definitely not. When it comes to passes in the final third, San Antonio have 63. Monterey Bay actually have 65 passes in the attacking third. So despite Monterey Bay just having 35% of the possession, they've had the same, almost equal number of passes in the final third, which really does highlight San Antonio's possession tonight has really not been very efficient or effective. Monterey Bay, on the other hand, have had just 35% and had the same number of passes in the attacking third, which just tells you that their possession that they've had has been more hard at the field, has been in more the offensive half. San Antonio's possession has been a little bit more in their defensive half. And they've been able to create goal-scoring opportunities from that possession.
Hawkinson to his right, plays it across. Eurofave. Now Hernandez. Wide for O'Connor Ward. On Joel Garcia, Akeem O'Connor Ward tees it up. The shot's blocked by Farnsworth. The clearance attempt never got all the way out. Hernandez back on it. Leggett away with it.
He needs somebody boning forward.
He's trying to turn on the Leggetts. Oh, goodness. Big collision.
It's definitely a free kick, but when Leggett has that ball and he's facing
Flag
forward.
was up for offside.
It's incredible that he doesn't have anybody making a run forward for him to release the ball to. if the expectation is for him to pick up the ball in his own half and dribble and beat everybody on his own, that's really unrealistic. When he has that ball, you've got to see blue jerseys flying past him and him trying to release somebody into space.
Hawkinson, he's made a difference since coming on. That was nearly a handball on Farnsworth. He's fortunate, and then he gets the clear.
I will say that if there's one noticeable thing in the changes San Antonio made, is Perano's ability to pick up the ball, drive forward, take players on, attract pressure by holding on to it a little bit longer, is now allowing San Antonio to have a little bit more dominance in the attacking third with their possession.
Don't miss all the exciting action of Monterey Bay FC with a group outing starting at $25. Plus, enjoy exclusive fan experiences like Walkout Kids, Ball Kids, the High Five Tunnel, halftime contests, and more. Visit MontereyBayFC.com for more details. Substitutions in a moment for San Antonio. We'll relay those to you when they happen. You can see at the bottom of your screen, Cornali and Maldonado getting ready to come on. Joel Garcia with some open space. Wide for Glasgow. Glasgow clips it in, back post, nobody home. And now we get those substitutions. Alex Cronali on for Alexis Suahi, and Mikey Maldonado comes on for Kurt Kalov. Maldonado had come into this game having played every minute of every match. He and Mitch Tainter each held that accolade, along with Joey Petruni, excuse me. And now the three of them, having all not started, San Antonio left with no Ironmen in 2026.
San Antonio just looking to turn the heat up a little bit going into these last 20 minutes. Fresh legs, a little bit more continuity in the squad that they play.
You know, aside from Mitch Tainter, I mean, this is essentially the group that you would expect to see out there. Santiago Patino not out there either, but for the most part, and this is the group that you expect to see from San Antonio week in and week out.
On the flip side, Monterey Bay yet to go to their bench. So San Antonio bringing on fresh legs, a little bit more cohesive group that are used to playing with each other. Monterey Bay, on the other hand, sticking with the same squad that are becoming a little bit fatigued as the game continues.
And that's a shove and a foul. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Danny Barbier.
Sorry, Monterey Bay did make one sub. They took out Lomazzi and brought in Leggett.
And that was Leggett, who may have been trying to earn a card there, and Danny Barbier having none of it. Here's one more look.
Exaggerated, I would say the word is again. Or maybe not. It's a little bit aggressive.
Barbier immediately wagging that finger no. I don't know why Barbier would even take the chance at that.
But just back to the balance of the changes. San Antonio have changed five players. So that's 50% a different roster than what started the game.
Math guy.
That could be good or that could be bad, because you could lose cohesiveness. You could gain fresh legs, but you lose cohesiveness and chemistry.
I'm glad
with so many changes.
I'm glad you were able to do that math. I was not and am not a math guy.
For Monterey Bay and that one change, it does mean that the fatigue over the course of the game could have an impact going into these final stages.
What's that percentage?
1 out of 10? 10%?
Oh, okay. Just making sure. I mean, you're the math guy.
Well, 1 out of 11. 1 out of 11.
You field players. I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
All right, so that foul in the corner and a free kick opportunity for San Antonio. With about 15 minutes to play, Joel Garcia, some gamesmanship. He disagrees with the whistle. Jorge Hernandez laughs it off.
Look, we know how the game can be ruthless sometimes. Monterey Bay, if they don't leave this game with at least a point, they will be kicking themselves at the opportunities they were not able to convert earlier in this game. It will be really painful because, as I said, defensively they've done well. If San Antonio 65% possession and able to register a shot on target, it's because Monterey Bay defended pretty well.
Hernandez, oh, that was a great attempt. Hawkinson was making the run to the back post. Hernandez nearly curled that in, but Delgado still has not yet had to make a save.
You can see the goalkeeper's worried by it. He's backpedaling, outreaches the hand. You can see a little bit uncertain if that's going to creep inside the post.
San Antonio thought maybe Delgado deflected it, but it is a goal kick.
So the combination of Delgado and the way Monterey Bay have defended could lead Delgado to a clean sheet tonight, which would be pretty impressive to keep a clean sheet against one of the top teams in the league.
Just one goal scored this season by Monterey Bay, just one goal conceded by San Antonio, but will something give here in the final 12 and a half minutes?
And you can only anticipate a mistake being the defining moment in this game. As we spoke about, Monterey Bay have defended fairly well, and they've created some good opportunities on the counter-attack.
That was dangerous. Monterey Bay trying to wreak some havoc with this press. San Antonio, though, and Cronali. Hernandez. Perano for Barbier. Floats it wide. Akeem O'Connor-Ward was the target, never got to him. And Joel Garcia gets the clear for Monterey. Foul coming on San Antonio. Milosevic. Leggett around the corner, plays it in front. Legit. Back post, the header. Wide. Good ball in by Milosevic, but that finish still not there for Monterey Bay. Looked promising.
Excellent work there from Leggett to get down the line into that dangerous cutback zone where so many goals are scored from. You see when you get into the area, the angle that opens up, the way you can cut the ball back to players coming on to finish first time. Really good work there from Leggett. Again, despite the changes, Monterey Bay still having their moments offensively.
And the longer this stays 0-0, they just need to cash in on one of them. Delgado with Hawkinson closing in. Paul, nifty. That should be a foul and a yellow, and it will be on Eurofave, and I don't know why he's protesting that. A clear grab of the shoulder.
This starts from Paul doing a fantastic job of keeping his team in possession. As a number 9, so valuable if you can protect the ball with your body and in 1 or 2 touches be able to release it and keep the team in possession. And Paul's done that a number of times in this game. He's just chasing down balls that maybe he doesn't have the right to win. He uses his body to protect it and is able to keep his team in possession.
Leggett to take the free kick from distance as we complete the 81st minute. Home fans hoping to see their side win its first match in 2026 and hand San Antonio its first defeat. Leggett into the mixer. Egu clips it back, cleared away by Thiago Suarez, the 20-year-old. Pirano sent away. Egu chasing it down. Hernandez hounding him. Delgado. Milešević. It's one. Leggett flicks it over the top. Good ball for Paul. Paul trying to track it down, but Cronale shields him off, and that's why he's one of the best.
Game opening up here for both teams going in search of the go-ahead goal.
Ross called for a foul. Maldonado, long down that right side. Akeem O'Connor-Ward, he stayed on side. Farnsworth, now Garcia gets rid of it.
Maldonado showing his class there with that pass. Just getting the ball out of his feet, spraying it deep in behind the defense. Bringing something different to the game that maybe has been lacking. A player in the middle of the park has a complete range of passing, able to connect the short ones, but also with the versatility to be able to play those long diagonal balls in behind the defense.
Barbier.
Now San Antonio's possession is looking a little bit better. Players picking up the ball in between the lines with good body posture, ready to play forward, moving the ball quicker, switching the point of attack. Now their possession looks like it has a little bit more purpose than it did previously. That being said,
still no shots on target.
Still 0 shots on target.
Incredible. 84th minute. Advantage played. Hernandez wide for O'Connor-Ward. Cleared away. Cronale missed it. Monterey Bay trying to move forward. Here's Glasgow with room. Paul down the middle. Glasgow goes down. That's excellent work by Thiago Suarez, and he is fired up, as he should be. Quick restart for Sanchez. It's Flores Blanco. You can feel the intensity start to ratchet up here in the final minutes of regulation.
Yeah, but Monterey Bay also need to draw confidence. They need to draw confidence from the fact that they've limited San Antonio to 0 shots on target for 83 minutes, despite San Antonio having 64% of possession of the ball. Now, what that 64% possession does, it is going to tire you out. It is going to mean your legs are going to get weary and your body is going to get exhausted because you're doing a lot of running without the ball, which is why the substitutions are vital to keep that energy, keep that intensity and cohesiveness in the defensive shape, because you can now see holes starting to pair a little bit as San Antonio start to move the ball a little bit quicker. So really important for Monterey Bay to take the positives that they've had so far in this game. Hey,
bad giveaway here. Weaving all the way through. It's Pirano. Up top, Flores Blanco. Shot blocked. Well done. Still no shots on target. And now it's Leggett.
Needs bodies running forward. He needs Glasgow to open up those legs that
Leggett.
Stretch the defense.
Leggett! Sanchez denies. Leggett wants the crowd fired up before this corner with 5 minutes to play.
Great work from Leggett. He does have support with players making forward, but there's not a clear line of pass. He just gets out his feet, drives one and goal, and it forces a big save. But Leggett doing a great job here of stretching the San Antonio defense, driving forward to the ball and creating his own opportunity in the dying stages of the game.
Best save of the night for Sanchez as Adrian Rebelliard comes on for Amari Glasgow. Fresh legs in the final 5 minutes. On the corner. Comes back to Leggett. He clips it in. Not cleared out. A chance! Oh, just wide! Rebelliard just came off the bench and nearly gave Monterey Bay the lead.
Monterey Bay have to be frustrated here. We talk about having a little bit of luck go your way. Well, this is it. It just needed to hit the target, and they've got the go-ahead goal, and they would have got the win that they've been screaming for. You can't ask for a better opportunity. Of course, Rebello's just come into the game. Maybe he's a little bit cold, but that is the moment. That's why he was brought in, for that moment to seal the win. And unfortunately, just unable to get it on target and test the goalkeeper, and it's a huge opportunity wasted. And as we spoke about, if you haven't had the dominance of possession, the chances that you create, you've got to take them. And that was a golden opportunity for Monterey Bay.
The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings.
I will give Monterey Bay their credit. Even with the changes that San Antonio have made, they've still stayed competitive in this game, even in the last 25 minutes when the stronger squad has come on and probably got a little bit better in terms of their ability to keep possession and dominate and move the ball a little bit quicker. San Antonio still had good opportunities. You're looking at Leggett's chance there just now. You're looking at Rebello's opportunity. So they can build confidence on this performance. It's definitely not been a blowout. It's not been a first against last type of affair. They've carried themselves well. They've created chances. They've defended exceptionally, because 88 minutes and San Antonio still yet to register a shot on target.
And that's a great example of the hustle they've shown tonight. That looked like a clear corner coming. It was kept in, and then eventually goes off of San Antonio. And we mentioned it earlier. I mean, this team, when you look at their schedule so far, 1-0 to a much improved Oakland Roots team. 3-0 defeat to El Paso. El Paso's a machine right now. 3-0's 3-0. But then the 1-1 draw away at Sacramento. Last week they defended very well. The only goal they conceded was on a penalty. And then tonight, they haven't a lot of shot on target, and they've had the better chances despite the lack of possession. So that there is something here for Monterey Bay, and it's almost like they just need to see one hit the back of the net for the floodgates to open.
Yeah, and I do think when you defend as well as they've defended, of course you lose a little bit of offensive output because your team is so focused on defending. But in terms of turning things around, you need to stop the rot. You do need to stop the rot. You need to get defensively concrete, and then you can build from there. And I think they're starting to get a good foundation defensively that is going to allow them to then build and grow their offense.
Joel Garcia took it away, but it's won right back by Jorge Hernandez. Eurofave for Barbier. Back for Eurofave. Tried to slide it through, but it was cleared away. And that should be a foul, and it is, and a yellow as well coming to Cronale.
Yeah, he's had the impact that the head coach expected since he's come in. Drawing free kicks, stretching the defense, created a couple of opportunities for shots on target himself, had a great run into the cutback area and delivered a ball. He's given the team a lift since he's come into the game.
Comes out in front, a chance, and it's blocked. Cronale got in the way, still alive. Thiago Suarez got to it. Nakamura for Leggett. Now Joel Garcia back for Nakamura. Trying to fit it through. Sent wide, Rebollar. In the dying moments of regulation. Clip towards goal. Sanchez comes down with it. As you see, 2 minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah, and I think Sanchez's response here says it all. He's caught the ball, he's gone to ground because he realizes his team is under pressure right now. Cronale has probably just made a match-winning defensive block in the dying phases of the game. We talk about attackers winning games. I think when you go back and you revisit this tackle from Cronale, this is a match-winning tackle.
Monterey Bay faithful wanted a whistle before that. Sanchez down, looks like cramps. Nakamura's been strong tonight in the midfield. He's a new acquisition this year, played the last 5 seasons in Europe, most recently in Latvia. Monterey is preparing another substitution. Belmar Joseph will come on. for this final minute. We'll certainly have more than 2 minutes of stoppage time as Sanchez is finally up onto his feet. Nick Ross will come off for Belmar Joseph. Solid performance by the captain. I really do think there's something there from this Monterey Bay side to build on tonight. They've had some strong performances against strong teams this year.
Here's the game-winning block. Yards out, the volley is destined straight to goal from Paul, and Crognali just finds a way to get his body in front and block it. Phenomenal defending in the dying stages of the game.
We keep saying no shots on target, by the way, for San Antonio. They've got 10 shot attempts, and the XG is .78. Wrestling match for it there, and finally the whistle blows for a foul. Everybody throws their arms up because that's when the whistle blows, and hey. I don't think I've ever seen a possession disparity quite like this, but with the counting stats as far as shots on target, chances, passes in the final third, all those being equal.
Yeah, balance. You can look at.
That is a big call late in stoppage time. A foul. Hernandez goes down. And it'll be a dangerous free kick after the foul by Nakamura on what could be the last kick of the game.
It's not overly malicious. There's a little bit there, but not much. But you're looking at the statistics, as you said. Monterey Bay have 35% possession, but they've had 9 shots, 3 being on target. San Antonio is 64%, 10 shots, just 1 more shot with 0 on target. You could really argue who's been the better team tonight. Possession can be very deceiving. Where was the possession? What did you do with the possession? But the reality is, Monterey Bay's expected goals, .98. San Antonio's expected goals with their possession, .88.
So here it is. Maldonado and Hernandez stand over it. At the death, Hernandez delivers in. Delgado punches it away. His biggest play of the night. Floated back towards the area. Joel Garcia. And that is out for a corner. Another chance. We thought that might be the last kick of the match.
This is the
Jordan
last,
Stewart is saying, hey, why are we still playing here?
And he's looking at some giants. You're seeing some big bodies for San Antonio coming up into this box. You know Hernandez has a good delivery. They've got Mark tight. They've got to stay close. Monterey Bay have got to get that first contact on the ball, make sure they react quickly for the seconds.
Hernandez delivers in front post, cleared away. One more time. Down for Hernandez. Hernandez clips it in. Back post, headed back towards the middle. Gotten rid of by Paul. Maldonado keeps it alive. Flick back towards the edge of the 18. Belmar Joseph, and the final whistle blows. And after all of that, for the second consecutive season at Cardinale Stadium, San Antonio and Monterey Bay played to a 0-0 draw. San Antonio, they move to 3-0-2. They remain unbeaten through the first 5 matches. Monterey Bay still winless, but an impressive performance against one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Second draw against a top team in the West.
Yeah, it's a really hard-fought draw for Monterey Bay. You have to give them a lot of credit. I feel like they had some fantastic chances. They defended excellently. You can see this team is playing well. They're defending well together. They're really leaving everything out there. They're working everything. It's only a matter of time before they either have to acquire somebody who has the skill set to finish in the attacking third, or the pieces that they have start to gel together and they start to create and convert chances. But a really good team performance from Monterey Bay tonight.
Our man of the match tonight, brought to you by Bay Federal Credit Union, Omari Glasgow. He covered a lot of ground tonight, created a lot of chances while he was in the match. Just couldn't quite finish in that final touch.
Yeah, he was relentless in his work rate for the team. And I think the next step is, how can the team unleash his weapons and his potential? How can they get the max out of him? Maybe using him more where he can get into space. Maybe using him a little more where he can apply pressure to defenders and create that pressure and create goal scoring opportunities in the attacking third. But I think it's a really selfless performance from him, where he did a lot of work in both directions on behalf of the group and was probably the best offensive player for Monterey Bay throughout the course of this game.
So we will step aside here in Seaside at Cardinale Stadium. Come back in just a moment to wrap things up for you. 0-0 is the final. Each team earns a point. Back at Seaside after this.
There is a ranch where we belong, where people believe in us. And we see what's possible when we realize our potential. This place dares you to dream, to seize opportunities, and find purpose. This is our ranch.
At Taylor Farms, our goal is to create healthier lives by creating healthy, fresh foods. A stronger community is a win for everyone. That's why each time the Monterey Bay Football Club scores a goal, Taylor Farms will donate $500 to a local nonprofit. Healthy goals, healthy lives. A more perfect union. We are Union!
At Montage Health, we go way back in Monterey County. We've been here for life's bumps and bruises, and its joyous moments, too. Our dedicated, compassionate staff have cared for generations of you. We're locals serving locals, delivering all the care you need right here. Visit montagehealth.org.
0-0 is our final at Cardinale Stadium in Seaside. Monterey Bay still winless on the season. San Antonio still unbeaten. Josh Appel, Chris Nurse here to wrap things up for you as we take a look at our full-time highlights. No shots on goal in the entire game for San Antonio, but that doesn't mean they didn't create some chances. Monterey Bay, though, had the better of them.
Shot from distance here from Lamadze. You don't shoot, you don't score, pulls the trigger. It's not bad attempt from distance, but safely into Sanchez's hands.
Once Christian Perano came on in the second half, that's when things started to turn in the attacking end for San Antonio, but Eurofave, an attempt from distance, went wide. The 85th minute, this was maybe the best chance of the half for Monterey Bay.
They get driving forward here, realizes he doesn't have an open pass, pulls the trigger, another big save in the dying phases of the game. Monterey Bay unlucky not to leave with all 3 points in honesty.
1 minute later, Leggett into the mixer. It came down for Rebollar. He was just off the bench on the volley with the outside of his right foot. Just missed it wide.
It was his moment to be the hero, but unfortunately a similar story where Monterey Bay just not doing enough to get across the line with all 3 points.
So you see the final stats. No shots on target on 10 attempts for San Antonio, but the possession heavily favored them. Monterey Bay finished with the higher XG.
Yeah, as you can see, Monterey Bay with less possession were almost able to create the same amount of chances, actually registered more shots on target. We spoke about San Antonio just scoring 5 goals this season. It's been a little bit underwhelming for what we expect from them. This is the area they're going to have to address. How are they better in their possession and creating goal-scoring chances and converting those chances also?
Monterey Bay will hit the road for 2 games at Indy 11 and Colorado Springs. San Antonio will remain out west against Orange County a few days from now. For Chris Nurse and our entire crew, Emma Knuff, our producer, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Josh Appel. Entertaining one tonight at Cardinale Stadium. 0-0 though, the final. San Antonio remains unbeaten. Monterey Bay remains winless. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on Golazo Network. We will talk to you next time.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.